Welcome to my channel. This is an indication of some of the things that I cover on a regular basis in my videos. If you haven't already subscribed, please feel free to do so, and don't forget to click the little bell so that you'll get notified of future videos. Please feel free to share my videos on your social media, and I hope you enjoy the video which follows. Well, hello everybody. It's Italian Baker Dale on the screen today, I guess. I have never made this bread before. My sister has a good friend, my sister lives in Ontario, has a good friend that gives her one of these loaves every time she makes it. And I have also been sent that lady's authentic recipe that was passed down from an Italian family. I'm afraid I'm making my version of it. I've done some research online, and what I've done is I have reduced the quantities that are in it because I want to do it in the stand mixer, and the recipe that she uses calls for 12 cups of flour. Well, you would have to have a commercial bread mixer to knead 12 cups of flour, even though I do have the, I guess, the strongest of the KitchenAid stand mixers, but I have reduced that, so it will be somewheres in between. I'll put a handwritten or typed, whatever, version of what I'm doing down below the video. I've reduced the 12 to 7 cups, and that's all-purpose flour. It doesn't have to be bread flour, just all-purpose flour. 1 tablespoon of yeast. And I'm using the instant yeast. It's the type that's used now in professional bakeries and everything because it doesn't have to be proved. You add it to the dry ingredients and just carry on. There's no time waiting for it to start to bubble up and prove and all that good stuff. I'm using 3 heaping teaspoons of fennel seeds. I think the recipe called for anise seeds. I happen to have the fennel seeds because my sister sent me some. I think the tastes are fairly similar. Fennel has an anise flavor. 2 teaspoons of salt. I'm using a sea salt, but any table salt would do as well. 1 large egg. I'm using 2 eggs because my eggs are from my Banty hens. My large hens have started to lay, but I just didn't happen to have one in the fridge today, so I'm using 2 small eggs. And very nice dark orange yolks in them because they're getting out to free range a lot more since this coronavirus stay-at-home thing has started. I'm home all day, so I let them out early in the afternoon and they're out until the evening. I wouldn't dare do that if I was going away. I worry about predators or whatever, but the eggs are much more flavorful now because they are getting all of the great bugs and things that they're supposed to eat from the wild. A heaping tablespoon of shortening. The one that I looked at online called for Crisco. Well, I'm using Fluffo, but any vegetable shortening. And that isn't in the recipe that my sister supplied to me, so should I use it or not? I don't know. The only other, I think that is all the ingredients. I'm going to put the fennel seeds in a spice grinder. I'm not going to grind them into a powder or anything, but I want to break them up a little bit. The fennel seeds are fairly large. There. That seems to have done it. Just put those in with the flour that's already in here. And the yeast. And the salt. Now it's time to get the stand mixer out. I've got the dry ingredients all in there, and I'm just going to let the dough hook sort of combine them a bit. That did a fairly good job, I think. Yeah. Just get the yeast and the fennel seeds more evenly distributed. Now add the wet ingredients, the eggs, or egg, if you've got a large egg, 2 cups of water. I don't know if I said that originally when I was going over the ingredients or not, but it's 2 cups of lukewarm water. And the shortening. Now, if it requires more water, I'll add it. If it requires more flour because it's too wet, I'll add that. But I've put in the measured ingredients that I calculated anyway. We'll see how correct I was. I wouldn't add too much more, but that still seems a bit too dry to me. There's a piece down on the bottom that isn't attaching itself to the rest of the plump, so I'll add a tablespoon or 2 of water. I think that's pretty good. I'll turn that up a bit and let it go for about 10 minutes. Went the wrong way with the control there and made it go faster instead of slower. It's had a full 10 minutes. I'll take it out and maybe do a little extra hand kneading, but that's looking pretty good, and the smell is wonderful, the fennel. It's really perfuming the air. It's not too tacky or anything, so I don't think I'll do a lot of extra kneading. I'll do a bit. It's nice and warm because of all of the friction from the machine kneading, so I suspect it will rise quite well, hopefully anyway. And it's not at all tacky or anything, so I think that's pretty much the way it's supposed to be. I will put it back in its bowl, cover it with plastic wrap and a tea towel until it has at least doubled and perhaps more than doubled in size, so that will be an hour and a half to 2 hours or so. I'll bring you back when it's ready to go on to its next phase. Well, it certainly did rise. That's 2 hours. I let it rise for 2 hours. Took the dog out for a walk, actually. I probably could have knocked this down quite a bit sooner. It definitely, it's more than doubled. It's 2.5 times the size of what was in there, I would say. Try not to use any more flour. I think that's probably okay. I'm going to divide this into roughly 4-ounce pieces. There are many, well, I say many, I found at least 3 different ways online of shaping them. It always ends up, almost always ends up as a circular, large, sort of like a large bagel. However, I did find one lady who has, I think it was a YouTube video, and hers looked like little loaves sort of pointed on each end. I'm going to attempt the method that is in the recipe that my sister sent me from her friend. It's 2 strands twisted together. I have seen also where they take one strand and you sort of hold one end of it down and roll it so that one strand sort of twists, and then join that into the circle. Oh yeah, and the only YouTube video that I could find, there must be more, I mean YouTube must be here, that's my oven, it's just heated up to 400 degrees. I also have a large stock pot of water on there, trying to bring it up to a boil, put a little olive oil in the water as well. But what was I talking about here before I ran down that rabbit hole? one lady that I found her video on YouTube, and as I say, there must be more on YouTube. I only did one search and came up with one. She definitely has done this before. She had a way of bringing it out, just didn't really roll it into a rope. She sort of flattened it out into a long, irregular rectangle, and then with the heel of her hand, it was fascinating to watch her. When she joined the two pieces together, it did look like it was braided. So I won't be doing that. As I say, I'm going to do this into roughly 4-ounce pieces. Pretty close. And each one of those will make a sort of a rope, a long string, whatever. And then I will try to twist the two together. Anyway, I'll bring you back when I have that all divided out. Well, that worked out evenly. I got what I thought I would get. I got 12 pieces, so that should make 6 of these breads. I'll bring you a little closer so you can see what I'm going to attempt to do with my hands here. Well, hopefully you're in focus here. I can't see what you're seeing. I'm going to try make each one of these into a rope of sorts. One recipe that I read said roughly 18 inches. So I'm not going to do any measuring. It's a nice dough to work with, not at all sticky. Haven't had to use any additional flour or anything. Just hope my hands are what you're seeing. Sort of braiding or plating them, however you want to call that, but in my opinion you need 3 pieces to braid. So, but anyway, I will just keep crossing them over each other like that. Gives the effect that you have braided them, I guess. And then that gets joined into a circle. We hope it doesn't fall apart. So everything works out well. I should have 6 of those shortly. I'll bring you back when I do. Well, I have 6 of them. Hopefully that's what they're supposed to look like, or something similar to what they're supposed to look like. I'm still waiting for the kettle of water on the stove to come to a complete boil. They get kettled or boiled the same as if you were making bagels, if you've ever made your own bagels. So that's interesting. And then, as I said, they're baked in a 400-degree oven on the oven rack. That's where I'm afraid I'm going to lose them, but I hope not. Not that they go down through, but might they stick or sag down through or whatever. But I'm going to try it, so we'll see what happens. Well, the water with a few drops of olive oil in it is boiling rapidly, so I'll start doing these. It says only a couple of minutes, so I'll do about a minute and then I'll flip it so that both sides get done. I'll bring you back and show you when I finish the 6 of them. Well, there they are in the oven on the rack. 30 minutes at 400, and after 15 minutes you should try to turn them over. We'll see how that works. Well, they're out of the oven. If you haven't done this before, I would not recommend cooking them on the oven rack. I don't think I ever would again. There must be a knack to that I'm not aware of. They were supposed to be turned at 15 minutes, and no way, they were stuck to the oven rack. And to get them off the oven rack once they were done, I had to bring the oven rack out of the oven and turn it upside down and pry them off one at a time. They're done anyway. They smell very good, the lovely fennel smell. I think this is the one. There's one here somewhere that came, maybe this one. Yeah, it came apart. However, I'm going to patiently wait until they're cool enough to slice one and try it. They, as I said, they smell delicious. I'm not quite sure how to cut this. I will cut a piece off anyway. Nice and crusty. Oops. Oh, nice and soft on the inside too. And smell that fennel. Really nice. Oops, I don't want the whole pound of butter. A little bit of butter would be better. Still warm, just barely warm, but the butter is sort of softening up and melting in there. Not sure if this is what these are really supposed to look like or not, but I think maybe a little browner might be nice, but they're done through and through. So let's give this a try. Comes apart nicely into sections where it was sort of twisted together there. Very good. And just enough fennel for my liking. You could add more if you wanted to, but I can taste the fennel in there. It's very nice. It's like a nice crusty dinner roll with fennel flavor. Well, I will close this video down and get it uploaded for this weekend's video. I hope you and your family and friends are all safe from the coronavirus. A horrible thing, people dying all over the world. Quite fortunate to live where I live. This province of New Brunswick where I live, I think we've just gone over 100 cases, and so far there hasn't been a death. And the hospitalizations here aren't that much either. Not yet anyway. I mean, things could get a lot worse, but so far so good. And actually the whole country isn't doing as bad as some other places have done. It's really a tragic thing worldwide. So don't forget to wash your hands and stay as isolated as you possibly can. And thank you very much for watching.